Tagovailoa. Blocked by Armstead. 2 into the end zone. Caught for the touchdown! Caught for the touchdown! Waddle!
2nd and 10, quick pass outside, and that is complete. That is Moreau, and Moreau fighting for yardage. The ball is loose again. Picked up by the Cardinals. This is Byron Murphy to the end zone for the touchdown and the win.
2 chances to get 10 for the Jets. Flacco over the middle. It's caught. Touchdown. Garrett Wilson. The Jets trying to pull a miracle comeback. 15-yard strike from Flacco.
Oh, what a week of NFL Sunday football. Kind of. What an early afternoon window of NFL football. All the rest of it was garbage. This is Interesting to See, a daily sports podcast about what's going on the internet so that you can talk to your friends about it. I'm Nick. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Make your friends and family listen if you like it. You can watch on YouTube or Spotify or wherever podcasts are found. You know the drill. We'll get to college football a little later. I'm going to kind of wing it this episode just because there's a lot of football to talk about. And I got my little segment, game you didn't watch, but I did. So I'm a loser. And this game will help you. This segment will help you talk about a game. Like, well, you know what was actually interesting? Let's begin, shall we? Yesterday, there were 2 20-point comebacks in the National Football League. There were 2. How many? 2. How many were there last year, Nick? 0. There were 0 20-point comebacks in 2021. There were 2 today. The Raiders were beating the Cardinals 20-0. The Cardinals, as you saw or heard in the open, got a scoop and score in overtime to win after Hunter Renfrow was fighting for irrelevant yardage. And the Ravens, leading 35-14 after also leading 28-7, lose to the Dolphins 42-38. 2-0. Get it? Because Tua Tagovailoa, 2-0. Yeah. Tua Tagovailoa had himself a day, statistically. That's something to talk about. Is he good? Is he bad? Who knows? Lamar Jackson's good. That's for sure. Lamar Jackson was 21 completions out of 29 attempts for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also ran the ball 9 times for 119 yards. What? The rest of his team sucks at football. The Dolphins, they're 2-0, man, and they have beaten now the Patriots, and they had the comeback win against the Ravens, and they look good. Tua Tagovailoa, 36 completions for 50 attempts. That's a lot. 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Is he good? Is he bad? We're going to find out. That was a big story from yesterday. Other stories, big upset. Cowboys beat the Bengals. The Bengals are 0-2. Joe Burrow, people are starting to sour on him this week just because at some point, sacks are on the quarterback. They sort of addressed the offensive line, but they still suck. The Cowboys' defensive front is bananas. Micah Parsons, my goodness, son. Second year player. I think he had at least 2 sacks. Let's see who had sacks. Leighton Vander Esch had a sack. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong had 2 sacks. Dante Fowler had a sack. They went off, and the consensus around the internet was, Joe, like, you can't just sit there. I know you want to throw the ball deep. Stop it. So that happened to Patrick Mahomes, happened to Josh Allen, buddy. Just run the plays that are called, dude. And then he got mad at the coach, and it was a whole thing. Jags annihilated the Colts. I've been telling you for many moons now that the Colts are full of shit. You've been listening. I told you, the Colts suck. They're full of shit. They're making it up. They're not good. They're cheap. They got beat by the Jags yesterday, 24-0. They haven't won in Jacksonville, and this is no shit, I think since 2016. It's been years since they won a game in Jacksonville. Remember last year it ruined their entire season? Yeah. So that happened. Jags beat the Colts. Niners beat the Seahawks. Jimmy Garoppolo played in this game because Trey Lance appears to have broken his ankle or perhaps fibula, maybe tibia. I don't know. Low leg ankle injury. They had him in an air cast, which means everybody's pretty sure it's broken. That was the story from that game. The Seahawks are garbage. They had their big win. Now I think they can go ahead and lose out with confidence so they can get Bryce Young, which I'm sure is what's going to happen. Okay, let's get into some bigger stuff, some narrative stuff. The Bucs and the Saints played yesterday. Thomas, James Patrick, Arnold, Brady, or whatever his name is. He does have like 5 names. I think I got most of that right, actually. There was a fight And I don't know the exact details of how this happened, but here you see people punching. There's Marcus Lattimore getting in his face, like, what, you got something to say? And then he just gets obliterated from the side. Kind of, I don't want to say it's a cheap shot, but I don't like this Brady shit, dude. Like, you gotta, someone beat the shit out of him at some point. Like, man, you're, and by the way, you're an old man. He is 20 years older than Marcus Lattimore. And look at him talking shit and stuff. He's like, you got something to say? Like, get away from my quarterback. Yeah, Brady, I'm about braided out. I'm about braided out. This is, I mean, he won't even answer for himself anymore. Like, he's just being a total douchebag. There are rumors that, like, they are definitely getting divorced, and he's kind of, yeah, like, it's going to get sad. He's going to get addicted. It's going to become like Tiger Woods. We're like, dude, trying to do this anymore is not, it's actually not cute anymore that you're trying to play football. It's going to become a tragedy. Yeah, Shakespeare wrote this shit. Okay, so that was the Bucs and Saints. The Bucs do hold on to win to beat the Saints. For the first time, Brady was 0-4 in the regular season against the Saints. Jameis Winston looked like trash. We're going to keep going through the scores. The Broncos and the Texans. Is it time to panic in Bronco land? They win the game 16-9. You heard that right. A lot of booing. Russell Wilson at one point was 4 for 16 for 30-something yards. That's bad. Okay. The Texans are trying really hard. They're not very good, but the Broncos fans were booing hard. They were getting delay of game penalties at home. That's not where that should happen. It was a mess. Was Russell Wilson worth it? Statistically, it ended up being okay. They do win. They scored 16 points in the Texans. Not a good situation, in my opinion. That's just me. You know, what do I know? Russell Wilson ended up with 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was below 50% completion rating. They do have Javonte Williams, their running back, who is dope, but they're going to run him into the ground. He won't be in the NFL a couple of years, which is just sad. That's how it goes. Other interesting games, the Lions go out to a 22-0 lead. The rookie super favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year, Aiden Hutchinson, 3 sacks. First 3 sacks of his NFL career. Big day for the Lions. DeAndre Swift only touched the ball 9 times, but had a touchdown in 2 plays of over 30 yards. He's so good. Carson Wentz led a really good comeback effort, but Jared Goff got the better of him. That's the number 1 and number 2 overall pick from 2016. I think they've played 2 or 3 times now. I don't think Goff has ever lost to Wentz. I think maybe when he was a second-year player, the Eagles went in there and beat the Rams, but that was when. Yes, the only time Wentz ever beat Goff was when the game he tore his ACL and Nick Foles finished the game, which is hilarious. Other things. Yeah, Cowboys, they get the last-second victory over the Bengals. I mentioned that. The Packers beat the Bears. The Bears are sad. I mean, I'm telling you, that coach it just isn't going to work. Oh, yeah, the Jets. So we had 2 20-point comeback. I forgot about the Jets. There's so much shit going on. The Jets had a comeback. The Browns missed a PAT, so the Browns are up now by 13, 30-17. The Jets get the onside kick, go down and score, and then the Browns have a couple seconds to get into field goal range to win the game. Jacoby Brissett scrambles for like 20 yards. They only need 10 more yards, and then he throws a pick, and Browns fans are booing, and they're like, uh-oh, what if I sold my soul to protect a sexual predator? The Giants beat the Panthers 16-19. Matt Rule, head coach of the Panthers, for how much longer? Who knows? A couple weeks probably. The Giants are 2-0. I think they're garbage, and they're trying really hard, but they're 2-0. And the Patriots beat the Steelers in a game that nobody watched because it was incredibly boring. So, Nick, what was the game we didn't watch? The game we didn't watch was Falcons and Rams. Guys, Matthew Stafford looks like shit. In the first game, Thursday Night Football 2 weeks ago, he looked like his arm hurt. In this game, he just played poorly. The Falcons don't have any. They have a couple offensive players who are incredibly good / underrated / will be good into the future. Cordero Patterson, remember the kick returner, who's now their main running back. He's really good. They also have Drake London, the rookie wide receiver, and Kyle Pitts, the second-year tight end, who fantasy people are starting to freak out about. But Mariota's the quarterback. They don't have a lot going on. They're clearly breaking it down / tanking. And whatever. Well, in the game yesterday, they were down like 20-something points. They get a field goal, and then they get a blocked punt return for a touchdown, and then the Rams throw to Cooper Kupp, and he fumbles, and then eventually Marcus Mariota throws a pick in the end zone. But this game ended up being 31-27. I told you 10 points is way too many. The Rams. The conclusion I draw from this game is that the Rams are 1-1 now, but they're not good. They look incredibly bad, and their schedule. I mean, it's time to worry in LA. Their schedule is not a happy situation for them. The Falcons are bad. Most people think the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Texans will have first overall pick, maybe the Bears. The Cardinals beat the Raiders. They get the Cardinals next week. It's much, much better, more competent team than the Falcons. And then they have the Niners and the Cowboys and then the Panthers and then the Niners. And these are teams, the Bucks. They have the Saints and the Chiefs and the Raiders and the Packers and the Broncos and the Chargers. I don't know. I kind of don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't think so. Yikes. The Bengals is a time to worry in Cincinnati. It is, for sure. It is for sure time to worry in Cincinnati. Let's go to college football, where the most amazing thing ever happened.
Not sure where he needs to be lined up.
Robinson in motion slot. Here's Bryce. Rolling out. Time to heave it deep. Throws it shy of the goal line, and that ball is tipped around and caught.
Wow!
Caught. Oh, that's a touchdown!
Wow!
Mountaineers win it! Mountaineers
Wow!
win it! Deflection, are you kidding me?
Unbelievable scene there in Boone, North Carolina. They rushed the field 1 week after beating Texas A&M in the hungover game. App State's winning, then they're losing, then they go down, and they don't convert on 4th and long. They get the ball back. They screw around with 20 seconds. All they needed was a field goal. They don't move the ball at all. They heave one to the end zone, tip drill, and in for the touchdown. Sometimes college football is just magical. And speaking of times when college football is magical, Arizona State fires head football coach Herm Edwards after loss to Mac School. What a great AP headline. Yeah, they got rid of him. So that means Lovie Smith at Illinois, fired. Herm Edwards, ASU, fired. It's NFL coaches to college. I don't think it's not the same thing. They're not grown men. You got to kind of daddy the players a little bit, and that matters a lot. This is the first time away from home. They need guidance. You have to be the CEO. You got to shake hands. There's just a lot more going on. Also, there isn't a cone of silence. People will snitch on you to ruin your program. In the NFL, people shut up pretty good. So Herm's gone. Bye, Herm. Let's go over some scores that I found interesting. Most importantly, Michigan State, you suck. On the road in Seattle, they allow Washington to score 20 points in the second quarter. That means at halftime, it was 29-8. Washington holds on 39-28. They get beat up. The other big upset over the weekend was Oregon dummied BYU. I told you that would happen. BYU can play football in the tough defensive way, but they can't play fast football. Fast teams will obliterate them. They have Arkansas later this year. That game will be ugly, like 56-10. A&M held on for their dear life against Miami. They're just trying to defibrillate their season and hopefully, we can still win the SEC. No, not really. Florida hung on for their dear life against South Florida. South Florida missed a kick. Wake Forest hung on for their dear life against Liberty. Liberty missed the 2-point conversion. Ole Miss shut out Georgia Tech 42-0. UTSA held tough against Texas. UTSA now is 1-2 with losses to Houston and Texas. Another big story over the weekend, Penn State went down to Auburn and just, holy shit. Wow. Just crushed those guys. Same thing in Nebraska. I thought perhaps Nebraska could cover the 16-point spread or whatever it was. No, Oklahoma beat them 49-14. Sometimes it is exactly what it looks like. Nebraska is no longer a top 25 job in college football. I mean, it is what it is, folks. Nebraska is officially DED, dead. It's going to take years and years. They got to hire a coach that's like, this is a 7-year plan. Nobody wants to be here anymore. This just isn't going to happen. It's not going to work the way that you want it to work. But we're going to get a little bit deeper into some of the narratives and the stories, and we're going to update on Brady Giselle watch, which is an important thing that everybody cares a lot about. And obviously today we're going to get all the stories of like people that were hurt and big things and blah, blah, blah. But what a weekend of pro football. The afternoon window was garbage. The most important story, of course, which we will investigate further, is for the second week in a row. DirecTV NFL Sunday tickets shit the bed right around 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's almost as if they did it on purpose, like they're being little bitches because they lost the contract. It seems suspicious. NFL games are played at the exact same time every year. Theoretically, you have infinity to prepare. Nope. I genuinely think they don't care, and they don't care on purpose because they lost the contract. If you're an advertiser for DirecTV or for NFL Sunday Ticket or for NFL football, I imagine you're calling DirecTV and you're like, hey, we'll see you in court. You owe us like millions of views. We gotta stop these companies from just ruining our lives. That's gonna do it. Like, rate, review, subscribe. Back and better than ever tomorrow. We'll talk about Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. I like the Bills. I like the Eagles. See you then.